Let's start the new chapter, which is treatment of sewage water. So the very first question says that the most important type of species involved in the degradation of organic matter in case of activated sludge process. So in case of activated sludge process, the most important type of species that is involved in degradation of organic matter is known to be heterotrophs or heterotrophic bacteria. These are the ones that are used in organic compound as an energy and the carbon sources of synthesis. So the correct option is option B. Next is match the items in the group 1 with those in group 2 and choose the right combination. So the group 1 and group 2 are activated sludge process, rising of sludge, conventional nitrification and biological nitrogen removal. These are the options that we can check with them. Okay, so see, just now we have seen that activated sludge process uses heterotrophic bacteria. Now rising sludge, what is rising sludge? So rising sludge occurs in the secondary clarifier. Rising sludge occurs in the secondary clarifier of activated sludge plant. So rising sludge occurs in the secondary clarifier of activated sludge plants when the sludge settles to the bottom of the clarifier, is compacted, and then after that it starts to rise to the surface. Rising sludge is the process in which the sludge first settles down into the bottom and then it is compacted, and then after compaction it starts rising to the surface and it results in denitrification. So correct option should be denitrifiers. So Q to 4. Now conventional nitrification. What is conventional nitrification? Nitrification is, we can say, is an aerobic bacteria, aerobic process, we can say. Nitrification is an aerobic process and it is performed by autotrophic bacteria. Two groups of autotrophic bacteria can be associated with the process. These two groups are Nitrobacter and Nitrosomonas. These two groups are Nitrobacter and Nitrosomonas. What does this Nitrosomonas do? This Nitrosomonas changes free ammonia into nitrate, and after that Nitrobacter, what does Nitrobacter do? It changes nitrate into nitrite. So conventional nitrification uses autotrophic bacteria. Biological nitrogen removal. So biological nitrogen removal, it is a sequential nitrification. It will work under aerobic condition as well as anaerobic condition. So nitrification will happen under aerobic condition and denitrification will happen under anaerobic condition. So biological nitrogen removal can be matched with 1. So the option will be 3, 4, 2, 1. 3, 4, 2, 1. Option A is the correct answer. Let's move on with next question. The dominant microorganisms in an activated sludge process reactor are, see, there are these 4 names, right? First of all, let's see what is aerobic bacteria. So bacteria that uses oxygen for its growth and oxygen based metabolism is called aerobic bacteria. So what does aerobic bacteria do? It utilizes oxygen for its growth and oxygen based metabolism is called aerobic bacteria. Now what is anaerobic bacteria? It is just opposite. It do not utilize oxygen for its growth. So anaerobic bacteria it will not use oxygen. Now what are heterotrophs? Heterotrophs cannot produce organic compound from inorganic sources and they rely on consuming other organisms in the food chain. So heterotrophs will not be able to create its own organic compound from inorganic sources, and therefore it rely on to the consuming of other organisms in the food chain. Okay, now what is autotroph? So they store chemical energy in carbohydrate food molecules which they build themselves. So autotrophs store chemical energy in carbohydrated food molecules. So now the question is, what is the dominant microorganism in an activated sludge process? So in activated sludge process, ASP, the presence of food mass and oxygen, ASP in presence of food mass and oxygen, heterotrophic bacteria converts food mass into biomass. So all the food mass will be converted into biomass in heterotrophic bacteria by heterotrophic bacteria in presence of food mass and oxygen. Hence we can say that dominating microorganism in an activated sludge process reactor are aerobic heterotroph. Why? Because just now I said that in presence of food mass and oxygen, so heterotroph will need oxygen to convert the food mass into a biomass, right? So the correct option will be option number A, which is aerobic heterotrophs. Next question is question number 4, which says that bulking sludges refer to, see, the bulking sludge refers to when there is less food to microorganisms ratio. So there will be more microorganisms and food will be less. So digestion of microorganisms, they will not make organic compounds just because of the food scarcity, right? So the ratio of food to mass, if that is less than 0.3 upon D, and if there is low nutrient concentration, same low food to mass ratio, low nutrient concentration, and high sludge age, these are the factors that affect sludge bulking. So bulking of sludge from this option will be A, will be the correct option. Now next is question 5. Which of the following sewage treatment methods has inherent problems of odor, ponding and fly nuisance? Inherent problems of odor, ponding and fly nuisance. So the problem of odor and fly and ponding is mainly from trickling filter. This problem arises only in trickling filter. Odor due to anaerobic decomposition, and fly nuisance. Because of the odor, there will be fly nuisance. So the option will be C. Now next is, From amongst the following sewage treatment options, largest land requirement of a given discharge will be needed for. So the largest land requirement will be for oxidation ponds. It will be for oxidation pond. Why? Because in oxidation ponds there is less depth. Depth is very less in comparison to other methods. So the depth is kept less. Why? So that the sunlight can penetrate into the water, into the sewage water, and this, due to this penetration, there will be photosynthesis process, and it will provide oxygen for aerobic decomposition, right? So sunlight will penetrate and oxygen will be provided in for aerobic decomposition. And for less depth, if you have depth that is less, so you have to increase the land mass. That means you have to increase the land area. So the option will be option D, oxidation pond. 7th is, a trickling filter is designed to remove settleable solids, colloidal solids, dissolved organic matter, or none of the above. So the trickling filter is a fixed bed biological filter. That means bed is fixed and that operates under mostly aerobic conditions. Bed is fixed, aerobic conditions it will be used, and it removes dissolved oxygen. It removes dissolved organic matter. So because see, all the organic matter suspended or something that are already removed from your settling process, that means primary settling tank, secondary settling tank. Now the remaining dissolved organic matters that we need to remove, and that will be removed by trickling filter. So the correct option is option C. Now 8th, the unit in which both sedimentation and digestion process of sludge takes place simultaneously is known as Imhoff tank. So the option will be Imhoff. Why Imhoff? Because see, Imhoff looks like something like this. There are two tanks. Okay, so in the bottom tank there will be sludge accumulated. Imhoff tank is used for clarification of sewage by simple settling and sedimentation. There will be simple settling and simple sedimentation along with anaerobic digestion of the extracted sludge. So this is sludge digestion compartment. Sludge digestion compartment, and upper half is known as settling compartment. So in settling compartment, the solids will be collected down, and this collected solids will settle down into, it will slide down into the inclined bottom slope, and it enters into the lower chamber. This is lower chamber, and in which sludge is collected and digested. Otherwise these two chambers are unconnected. So with sewage flowing only through upper sedimentary chamber and no flow of sewage in lower digestion chamber, the sewage will only flow into this upper chamber. In this lower one there will not be any flow of sewage, only the settled particles will slide down to this, and this will be digested. Okay, so the unit in which both sedimentation and digestion process of sludge takes place is known as Imhoff tank. So the correct option is option B. 9th is, critical factors of activated sludge treatment process are. So the options are maximum hourly flow rate, maximum and minimum flow rate, maximum hourly flow rate and maximum daily organic load, minimum hourly flow rate and minimum daily organic load. So see, critical factors are maximum hourly flow rate and maximum daily organic load for an activated sludge process. So the answer will be option C. Let's move on to question 10, which says the BOD removal efficiency in percentage during primary treatment under normal conditions is about C. During the primary treatment, the efficiency in primary treatment, first of all, we should remember that in primary treatment, 60 to 70% of suspended solids will be removed. Suspended solids get removed, 60 to 70%. But it does not have that much BOD removal efficiency. So around 30% BOD we can say is also removed. So around 30% under normal condition. So the correct answer will be option C. Next is the chlorine is sometimes used in sewage treatment. Why? See, there will be sludge bulking. What is sludge bulking? That means if there is any type of sludge which has poor settling characteristics, it will be a sludge which is having poor settling characteristics, will settle down not very easily. So we call it as a bulking sludge. There are some specific type of microorganisms which are called, for example is fungi. Fungi is also a microorganism that is responsible for bulking sludge. So we can say filamentous microorganism. Fungi is a filamentous microorganism. So these filamentous microorganisms are observed due to the low nutrient content. When there is low nutrient content, so what will happen when there is low nutrient content? The amount of these fungi or filamentous microorganisms increases. And another thing which causes this filamentous microorganisms are high sludge age and low food to mass ratio. If this also kept low, then there will be chances of sludge settling. Now, most successful method to control these type of microorganisms, which are fungi, filamentous microorganisms, is the reduction of sludge age less than 6 days. What we can do, that we can reduce the sludge age as less than 6 days. Your theta, that is known as sludge age. And chlorination of return active sludge. Chlorination is also one that is used for removing, that means we can say avoiding bulking of activated sludge. So the correct option from this, we can say the option number C, avoid bulking of activated sludge. Next is sewage treatment is in an oxidation pond is accomplished primarily by, so see, what does an oxidation pond do? See there, oxidation pond is one of the biological systems which are used for the treatment of wastewater. Now it is totally aerobic pond. We can say it is totally aerobic pond, and stabilization is brought by the aerobic bacteria. Now oxygen demand is met by combination of action of algae and other microorganisms, and this process is called algal symbiosis. Process is called algal symbiosis. In this symbiosis, algae, while growing in the presence of sunlight, algae produces oxygen by photosynthesis, because there is sunlight, and by the sunlight the algae produces oxygen, and this oxygen is algae produces oxygen, and this oxygen is utilized by the bacteria for oxidizing the waste organic matter. So the end product of the process in oxidation pond is CO2, NH3 and H2O, which are required by algae to grow and continue producing oxygen. So these are required by algae to grow. So algae, the bacteria creates CO2, right? And again this CO2, NH3 and HO2 will help algae. So this chain of like this chain is going to continue, right? So it is known as a symbiotic relationship, so between algae and bacteria. So the correct option will be option A, that sewage treatment in an oxidation pond is the combination of algal bacteria symbiosis. Next is question 13. The typical biological process in treating wastewater using aeration lagoon can be described by one of the following schematic diagram. So, the aerated lagoons. These aerated lagoons are generally provided in the form of simple earthen basins with inlet at one end and outlet at other end. And this is because it enables the wastewater to flow through, while aeration is usually provided by mechanical means. So aeration is provided by mechanical means, and due to this aeration, the stabilization of organic matters is going on. So in aerated lagoons, settling tank and sludge recirculation, these two things are absent. So if we see for aeration lagoon, settling tank should be absent. Settling tank should be absent after aeration, right? So we can simply say that sludge recirculation is also not a method that is used in aeration lagoon. So the option which matches properly is option number B. Next is question 14. Anaerobic main constituent of gas generated during anaerobic digestion of sewage sludge are. So the main gases of anaerobic digestion is CO2 and CH4, that means carbon dioxide and methane. So the correct option will be option A. Next is 15. The removal of dissolved organic matters occurs in. So dissolved organic matters is removed by trickling filters, as we have already discussed. Now question 16. A septic tank is. So see, what is septic tank? In septic tank, the settled sewage is allowed to remain in the tank for 6 to 12 months, like almost a year. So in septic tank, the settled sludge will be there for 6 to 12 months, during which it is digested anaerobically. There is no sunlight or something, so it will be digested anaerobically, and it doesn't require any other treatment process and is an on-site sewage treatment. Septic tank is in our own households also. So raw sewage is directly entered in the septic tank and the sludge settles at the bottom of the tank, and oil and grease whichever comes, it rises up and from the top surface, and it goes to the scum as a scum. So septic tank is the process in which sewage will be settled down and anaerobic reaction will happen. So the correct option which matches option B, an anaerobic method for on-site sewage treatment. Next is question 17. A trickling filter is primarily a straining process to remove suspended solids. Suspended solids is not an option, right? It is wrong. Biological oxidation process to remove BOD from sewage. Straining process to remove turbidity, no. Straining process to remove bacteria, no. We are removing only, like we are decomposing, right? So by the anaerobic bacteria, aerobic bacteria, that means mostly we say heterotroph bacteria. So there is oxidation, right? So the option B will be the most correct option. Option B. Next is question 18. Activated sludge is the aerated sludge in the aeration unit. Sludge settled in the humus tank. Sludge in the secondary tank after aeration enriched in microbial masses. Sludge in the secondary tank after aeration enriched in nutrients. So sludge that comes after the aeration tank, that is after the secondary tank. Sludge in secondary tank after aeration and which is rich in microbial masses. So correct option is option C. So from here the 1 mark questions are ended. We will discuss next 2 marks questions.